So any thick branch that I see at the top, I'll just cut that out. In any case, heal in the next season.
Right, so I've given that one a bit of a prune. It has got an interesting trunk, it still needs refinement, but at least it's on its way. I'll just put it back at the top. But a number of years down the track, you might land up with something as good as the next two trees, and both of them are Poppie's trees that she's grown. So these are about the same age, they date back to about 2002, grown from cuttings as small as the piece in my hand, and grown in the open ground, and from there just started to prune. And what you're starting to notice now is that dense ramification, and on many of the old scars you'll see a lot of healing happening. Things like that Poppie has done carving on, and it is starting, the cambiums are just rolling into it, and over time, like that one, it will be healed completely. Fairly nice trunk with a beautiful base. Even on some of the roots, Poppie has created by carving, and as it heals over, it looks quite old. Now for us as South Africans, especially if you've got animals like elephant and other browsers, even around trees, they start browsing on the roots, and they create that typical, or they even trample the roots, and you get that type of character on it. So that's trident maple. Just going to put that up there.
What I find is if we grow the things in the open ground, sometimes they have a really, really strong root at the top and it will stick out. So even if you draw that out, there will be a terrible scar initially, but in time at least that will disappear. So that's one way of rectifying that a bit.
And this is another maple. Just to the side. Another maple that Poppie has worked on, similar age as the previous one, and it's especially that base. Now most of these roots were round, and she's gone and carved them and chopped them down to be flat, and in the process of flattening them they're starting to heal over, and just adds that extra character and age right up to the roots. On a branch like this, you can see that it's a fairly heavy branch that she's got here. Now if that branch is allowed to be round, it'll be even thicker and completely out of proportion. So the clever trick that she's come up with, she's carved the whole top bit out. The branch looks a lot thinner, and now it has got character as it heals over, and again it looks like a much older branch, just in terms of flattening that top bit out, and some lovely movement, taper from that size to this at the top, and hopefully in the next season we'll be able to get some of the growth even more out horizontally just by fine wiring many of these small ones, but at least the twiggy growth is starting to come into place, and even with those small 3-lobe leaves we do get on tridents, it looks quite nicely in proportion. And at least, although it's a thick trunk, it's not a big tree, which at least makes it transportable.
As complete novices, I apologise if this is a really dumb question, but when you do this, the carving and to create that interest, do you put a pruning paste or something on it to protect infection getting into them?
Sometimes yes, we put just the wood glue on it.
Ah,
Even something as inexpensive as that.
Yeah, and people will tell you not to put any dirt on it, but I find if I rub a little bit of dirt on it, it heals quite quickly. I don't know how scientific that is, but I find good results with that.
I thought you were going to say Marmite.
Oh, no, I haven't tried that. I'll possibly lick my fingers all the time.
So even there, it's just a bit.
Is that a PVA glue?
Ordinary PVA Sally's glue. We sometimes use no more gaps as well, and that does as good a job.
Yeah,
Especially with the number of trees we've got. We can't go and buy expensive Japanese sealer and use it in a collection this size.
And it's really sticky, and it's not really nice to apply it. It sticks
The best-
on your fingers.
This is water dissolvable as well, and especially if you sometimes use that black paste that you get as a commercial tree seal. It's always on your clothes, and then it's basically a write-off because you don't get it off. Where with this, the first time it goes through the wash, it goes out.
Yeah, and it's clear too. If you're using
Clear.
back seal or something like that, you're having pink dots all over the tree, and you don't want pink dots all over your tree.
And at least when it dries off, it's clear as
Clear,
well.
yeah.
Okay. Are they making progress here next to me?
Slowly, but see the light.
what was that tree called, that one?
This,
Yeah.
it's a privet. Privet. It's a weed in New Zealand, but as a bonsai, it's really good material. And I also do like them to flower a little bit.
Yeah. I don't have flowers on it.
Right. This is a trident that Poppy has been working on. I personally think it's going to turn into one of the best trees we have in the collection for no other reason than that beautiful taper from very thin to very thick, beautiful strong root base, and good branch placement. Yes, it has got a few big scars, but that's healing. If you look at that top cut, just look at the way it's rolling in there, healing. And at present, some of these are left too long, but Poppy will come back and just cut them all back shortly, and then we'll only grow twiggy growth from there. Ines, David, not bad taper we've got
Pretty good.
on that in terms of movement and branch placement. Again, that was a very thick round branch, and what Poppy has done, she's carved the top bit and even split it in the middle, and now it's going in two directions, but the whole branch is a whole lot lighter on the eye. It's no longer this thick dominant, and in the way it was carved, there's a lot of character. Again, it looks like a much older branch now.
The only thing with doing that, how do you know you're not going to lose another part of that branch because you cut into the live veins or the whatever?
At least there we know that we've got all of that bottom supplied.
Yeah.
So from the root, it comes up, continuous flow of cambium into it. We've removed the top, which often doesn't have as good flow. If you do the opposite, there's a very good chance. If you cut underneath, you have disturbed your flow in terms of sap flow. But in this way, the sap flow wasn't disturbed, and it just continued to grow. And especially if you leave enough live branches, it just pulls that through.
But with doing deadwoods on the trunks, how do you know that bit coming up there is connected to that and it's not going to die off that branch?
You don't always know.
Don't always know.
Just follow your gut, more or less. And sometimes if you take a piece at the bottom and you rip it, you just follow that line. So that's quite an easy way to see where the natural flow of that branch is.
Yeah.
But what is difficult for me is sometimes the drill will slip and I'll just cut it off. So that's quite easy to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.